What is that? Wait, what is that
Just don't
thing?
worry about it. Keep talking.
I'm like, what is this shape he's making?
I'm
What
I'm
is that?
I'm trying to do the doctor's time machine. It's really bad.
At least it's blue.
It's
Oh,
just, you know what?
shaking my head, man.
I'll just
Oh no!
we'll erase that. But
Yeah,
that grace and truth duality is huge for us to walk in joy about as Christians, right?
yeah,
Because we have been saved by grace through faith, not of ourselves, the gift of God, so that we can't boast. So we've done it. If you are born again, you are saved. You don't have to worry about the cup being poured over on you, the wrath of God being poured out on you in the way of judgment of like hell. That does not mean that I'm struggling with this, but that does not mean that we are going to escape the consequences of our sins now, here. When we sin against God and we refuse to repent, there is a consequence
yeah.
to that, and we have to face that. So let's keep moving. I like this. This is fun. This is a great passage. Okay, so
Real
7
quick,
through 9. What's that?
yeah. So real quick, I just want to, whoever's watching, I want you to think a little bit about where you have been historically in your own life and what stream of thought that you guys naturally think in, right? Whether that's in the grace or the truth, because oftentimes a lot of us are influenced in whatever way we grew up. And that can influence the way we read scripture. So if we read things like fiery fury, we go, whoa, that's extreme. That's not the God I serve.
Mhm.
Or when we see things that are all grace and lovey language, we say, well, God should consequence. That's what he does.
Mhm.
So I think it's a good heart check to say, what have I grown up in, and what are some barriers that I could break down so that when I read stuff like this, that I can come with an open heart. Um, yeah. So, and that's a thing that's tough, man, but it's very helpful.
No, that's so good. I remember, again, it was really prompted by after that question that you asked me. And even in that season, one of the
Hmm.
things that God was calling me to do was to relook at every single thing that I was taught growing up about the Bible. So about who is Jesus, like I think got that one down. I've been in ministry for 7 years at this point. I think I got
Right.
it down. I've been a Christian my entire life that I know.
Yeah.
I didn't have it down. I had pieces of it down. I had enough to actually truly follow him, but I did not know. And I'm never going to know everything about him. That's why
Mm,
we have the Holy Spirit to teach us those things, and it searches the depths of even God himself. In Corinthians, we see that. And we have him inside of us so we can know God, which is amazing, and know Jesus, who he is, so we can be discipled by him just like his apostles were, just like his
mhm.
disciples were. I am in communion with him if I want to be. However, all those promptings of what is hell, like is hell this ultimate being given over, the earth is being given over to sin, and God is just void from that. And it's like earth is just filled with sinners who will keep diving
Mm,
further into sin for eternity and reap all those consequences? Or is it a fiery place that's somewhere like in the middle of earth or underneath earth somewhere? I don't know. Is it a physical fiery place? Like, what is hell? And so those questions really help you to read the Bible and love God more through it, I think. You see so much
yeah.
more about who God is and what he's done and the story that he's telling and all these themes that are just brought through from Genesis all the way through Revelation.
Mhm.
It's so beautiful to get yourself out of your head and not get stuck by terms like these, like you're saying. I love that, Jacob. That's good,
Yeah.
man.
Good
That's
stuff,
good.
man. Yeah.
Let's get back into it.
We could
All
talk
right.
all night,
Oh, I
man.
know. We can go for hours. We got to be careful. All right. So, verse 7 through 9. So the king proclaims the Lord's decree. Remember, Jacob, you're going to go first here again. So just be ready. All right.
Same.
The Lord said to me, "You are my son." And this is where we're really getting to what you were just talking about. You
Yeah.
are my son. Today I have become your father. Only ask, and I will give you the nations as your inheritance, the whole earth as your possession. You will break them with an iron rod and smash them like clay pots. So, what I would ask you, Jacob, is from the top of this passage, kind of like what we were looking at up here, all the way
Mhm.
down to there, how does this tie in? What's happening here in context?
Yeah, I'm gonna reread it because the king proclaims the Lord's decrees. Yeah, the Lord said to me, "You are my son. Today I became your father." So, okay, so help me out a little bit. What you go first because I
Sure.
think I think yeah, you just go first.
Okay. So, on this one, what I'm really, really seeing is this identity, right? So
Hmm.
David's struggling, like at this beginning, he's crying out for help. That's one of the things you pointed out there. His people are seeing God as an oppressor. They're not seeing them in the healthy relationship with Him. They're seeing them or God as this oppressor who they want to just get away from. They want to get out of this slavery from Him. And then we get to this next piece where where they're viewing God as somebody who's just mocking them and just rebuking them, constantly telling them no, right? So you guys are dumb for disobeying. I'm gonna go ahead and hellfire coming on you guys from the heavens, 12 plagues. We're going at it because you guys are disobeying. This is how they're looking at God. And I think this is how David's maybe starting to see him a little bit. So he's seeing all these nations rage against him.
Hmm.
Why is this happening? I'm your servant. I'm trying to live by you, but everybody's against me. What's going on?
Yeah.
Even my own people seem to be against you. What's happening here? And then he gets to this very intimate piece. And this is where David always looks bipolar. But I think that we are a lot like that too. But he
Oh,
gets down
absolutely.
here and what you really see is this idea of this proclamation, this decree. The king proclaims this, the Lord's decree. That's pretty huge, right? This is the Lord's, they're a personal God's decree. The
And the
Lord
king
said to
being
me,
who?
what's that?
The king being who? Right? Just to clarify.
The king. So
Hmm.
first glance, this is David, right? Lowercase
Yep.
k, king.
Yep.
So this is David saying,
The
David
pronouns could be
proclaims.
a little
What's that?
crazy, right? I said the pronouns can kind of confuse, and that's what I was initially. I was like, what are the pronouns? There's so many here.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, yeah. So let's make a note of that. So this is David with my sloppy handwriting because I have nothing to rest my wrist on right now. I got to fix that for future. It's Navid or naval. Yeah, I got to fix that. Hold on. David. Yeah, there we go. That's
Oh
so
boy.
bad. Okay. So David proclaims the Lord's decree. The Lord
Hmm.
said to me, "You are my son." And that's just right there, identity.
Yeah.
So what does identity really give us? It gives us security, right? When you know
Hmm.
who you are, when you know who God is in relation to you, it provides security. It gives you some solid ground, some footwork, so that you can actually stand on something and deal with life because you have some kind of anchor that you have in place. And so you are my son, I have become your father. So, this identity of who I am in God. Only ask, and I will give you the nations as your inheritance. So, at the beginning again, why do the nations rage?
Yeah.
I will give you the nations as your inheritance. So, this
Mm.
is a promise, a decree from God that He's going to take care of David. you
Yeah.
know, that he's going to actually turn something that David's looking at as like insurmountable as an inheritance, something good.
Yeah.
Um, and so
Mhm.
it says his inheritance, the whole earth as your possession. You will break them. So now here's the real thing. So be confident. This is my decree. You're going to
Mm.
break these people that you're afraid of right now with
Right.
an iron rod and smash them like clay pots. So there's your intro to that. Jacob, go off of that. What are your thoughts?
Thank you. Yeah. Again, I think for us when we read these psalms, sometimes and that's why I had Casey go first because I was like, wait, who's talking? Who's saying what? And I was rereading it too. To this man, you said it. It's intimacy. It's David speaking with the Lord, with God, and the Lord speaking back to him. And I think for us, it seems surreal, right? It seems, well, God doesn't speak to me, or I have, but it was years ago and very rarely. But and this is an intro to the 140 something chapters we have in Psalm. David was in constant conversation with God,
Hmm.
constant constant intimacy, and that's hard. That takes a lot of devotion and time, but it's a thing that we all can have. So here, God is really encouraging David and saying, "Hey, I see your hurt, I see your pain, I see what you're going through." Again, like you said, Casey, identity. Remember who you are. Remember who I made you to be. Today, I have become your excuse me, become your father. And I think that's again another reminder of, hey, today, as as just like yesterday, just like tomorrow, I am your father.
Mm,
Then it
that's good.
goes to the yeah, and then it goes to the only ask, and I will give you the nations as your inheritance, the whole earth as your possession. This is it's a funny thing because you say, really, all the nations and really the whole earth is your possession. Like that's kind of bizarre. And maybe you can talk a little bit about this too. What
Hmm.
because in the context again, I don't know really what it means, but it takes me to Jesus, right? Through
Mm,
David's lineage comes Jesus, who, in result, is a ruler over all nations, all kingdoms, all authorities.
right.
So, and then at the end it says, "You will break them with an iron rod and smash them like clay pots." This is something God's telling David of, "Hey man, you got this. Like you're gonna kill it, and you're gonna like you're gonna do a good job." And ironically, you're gonna kill it. But
Yep.
in reality, it's saying God's saying, "Hey man, like I put you here for a reason, and I'm on your side, and so you're gonna be okay." And they're gonna keep coming. All these people who are raging against you, eventually wanting to kill him, and you're gonna be okay.
Yeah. That's so good.
So.
And I mean, you're making me think a little bit more about this too, and so
Mhm.
that whole idea of David. So we talked about that a little bit. Where did David come from? What was his line? We can track him back to Rahab. We can actually
Mhm.
track him back to Reuben, right? No, no, Judah. Yeah,
Judah, yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
duh, tribe of Judah. So Judah
Travis.
had a pretty nasty relationship way back, and we see we see how Jesus comes from this line of somebody who sleeps with prostitutes to a prostitute herself
Mhm.
that lived in Jericho, who was not a Jew, right? And then we see coming out of that. Yeah, right. We see a little bit more of that. We see like Ruth and we see Boaz and things like that. But then we
Yeah.
see it coming to this point of what people kind of think is like the culmination that becomes David. Is he the guy? You know, is he the king?
Right.
And what we
Is he
see
the
is
Messiah? Right, right.
what's that?
Is he this Messiah? Is this what, the
Yep,
Torah was talking about, the Old Testament? Mhm.
that's right. And they see him doing these things that I think they were looking for in the New Testament, where Jesus came on the playing
Mhm.
field against Rome. In their mind, is he going
Yeah.
to free us and liberate us and be this warrior king, like
Mhm.
David did against the Philistines and Saul? You know,
Mhm.
so there was this going on. David failed at it pretty hard, but what what you can see here
Yeah.
is this idea of only ask and I will give you nations as your inheritance. But then he goes further. The whole earth is your possession. Who came from the line of David? We know is Jesus.
Mhm.
Jesus, his inheritance is everything. It's the entire earth. When we see him go into the desert and the wilderness and being tempted, we see him being offered the earth, right? Everything is going to be yours
Yeah.
if you just bow, and it's already been given to him. Here's one of the
Yeah.
promises right here. It's already been given to him. And he knows that. So Jesus is the line of David is he's going to receive the possession of the entire earth. We know that. And so what we see here is this duality of David being promised through this proclamation of the Lord, who ironically the Lord, the personal Savior, we see as the later on being Jesus himself, you know.
Mhm.
But what we really see here is this duality of what you're facing right now with your physical enemies. I'm going to overcome that, right? I'm going
Mhm.
to give it to you as an inheritance. Um, but I'm also talking about the spiritual battle at hand. It is
Mhm.
going to be overthrown. It is going to be overtaken. And Jesus is the one who did that on the cross that we know about. They will break them like an iron rod, smash them with clay pots. And then we get into this last piece here. And what I love is that he just tells them, you're going to tear these people apart. And then he says, now then, you kings, act wisely, right?
You
Be
better watch yourself.
warned, right? So this is so crazy
Yeah.
that we see this happen all the time, right? So it takes a long time for God's wrath to pour over. It takes a lot for it to happen, which is why David really sees a lot of stuff raging against him because God allows that to happen and he gives people the opportunity to repent and to
Mm.
be warned. He promises people they're going to be destroyed and then he tells them, be warned, turn around from it. And so what he said, now then, you kings, act wisely. Be warned, you rulers of the earth. Serve the Lord with fervent fear and rejoice with trembling. Wow, that seems pretty ironic.
Mhm.
Rejoice with trembling. Submit to God's royal son, or he will become angry, and there it is, and you will be destroyed in the midst of all your activities. For his anger flares up in an instant. But what joy for all those who take refuge in him.
The
What do you
big
got, Jacob?
the butt, right? The butt. What joy. Yeah, yeah. I love that, man.
Whew.
So it is good stuff.
Yeah.
So the first thing I think in what is it, verse 10, it's kind of the notion of you better check yourself before you wreck yourself, boy. Because because you don't know who you're going up against, right?
Uh
Can
huh.
you write that in there? Check
Check.
yourself
If my
before
handwriting will
you
allow,
wreck.
let's make it happen. Let's pick a fun color. What color do you want for that?
Oh, that's like bold red, man. That's like
Bold red.
yeah, I don't yeah.
Bold red.
But purple's fun. We haven't used purple yet.
Purple. Let's do
Sure.
purple. I got red like all over the place. Okay, so what is it? Check your.
Check yourself.
I'll do it in bold.
I
So
like it.
check yo self.
Oh, I like the little apostrophe. Yeah.
It was an accident. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so check yourself
Yeah. Before
before
yo,
you
yo,
wreck
yourself.
yourself.
I love how we're putting so much time. I just want to let you guys know, people who don't know me and Casey's relationship, this is what we did a lot when we would talk.
Yeah.
It was great. But
that's
it's real, right?
that's just discovering the Bible together, right?
That's it. And honestly, this is a funny thing, but man, when you read scripture, it could be a drag. But when you read it together and encourage each other and just like bounce off ideas, it could be so much fun. Like I'm just having a blast, and but that's part of it, right? That's something that I think God created for us to do is be in fellowship with others. So that's a side sermon for you, but uh,
We'll get you on to preach one of these episodes, man.
yeah, yeah. Hey,
You're a master after
I'm
all.
yeah, I'm a master. No, but to get back to it, I think David is being very real, right? He's saying, "Now then, you kings, act wisely, because remember what I said before, and be warned, you rulers of the earth, because remember, this is what God's telling me, that I will break you with an iron rod and smash you or them like clay pots."
Hmm.
Then it's this proclamation of, hey, this is what you should do, right? Don't come after me, don't be my enemy, but rather serve the Lord with reverent fear and rejoicing with trembling. Now we're going to stop there, right, Casey? Because that's some good stuff. Because it
Yeah,
seems like
stop. Go for it.
it seems like a paradox, right? You're like, well, reverent fear and rejoice and trembling, and so you go,
Uh huh.
how can you have reverence and be fearful, and how can you rejoice with trembling? And I think a lot of this is a big thing in the church world of when you hear fear the Lord your God, we often say, well, it's more of a respect thing, right? I think you kind of mentioned it earlier. It's
Yeah.
a well, you have this reverence, you have this respect for God, and so naturally you fear, um, because you know who God is and what He can do and what what he should deserve, right?
Mhm.
So, but I think when you see reverent fear and rejoice and trembling, you say, okay, this is a God who, what is that? Wait, what is that
Just
thing?
don't worry about it. Keep talking.
I'm like, what is this shape he's making?
I'm
What
I'm tr
is that?
I'm trying to do the doctor's time machine. It's really bad.
At least it's blue.
It's
Oh my,
just you know what?
shaking my head, man.
I'll just
Oh no.
we'll erase that.